All right, everyone. Welcome back to Weber State Esports. We're happy to have you joining us for our CLoL Championship games. As you can see on your screen, this is a best of 5 between Weber State University and Keiser University.
Yes, and for those of you who have been following along, you will remember that Weber State is down in the losers bracket. That means whoever does lose this series, this best of 5, is out of the championship for this year. So it's do or die.
High stakes, which usually result in high action, as far as I'm aware at least. And we should be ready to jump into the draft here in just a moment, where I believe we have learned that Weber State is on the red side. Yes, we can see it there. Honestly, not that big of a surprise, to be real with you, but overall, honestly, we will see what we've got waiting for us. It looks like there's a little bit of an issue on our current graphics. The Keiser Seahawks logo is not on their portraits.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see their portrait down in the left-hand side where it will be showing up. Our team will be working on that. But a Nocturne ban coming through here pretty quickly. For those of you who've been watching professional League of Legends, you kind of get, yes, he's come up in priority. The buffs that keep happening to Hex Tech, experimental Hex Plate really make him stupidly strong.
Yeah, it's pretty good, honestly. All things considered, is what's interesting is that I feel like in previous times Nocturne was only picked with champions that could really facilitate him, like Nocturne Oriana was the composition you saw him pick him. Nocturne has risen up in enough priority that it feels we'll see him in drafts that don't include Oriana or even other setup control mages. So he's just gotten good at this point.
It's a champion that makes it so you cannot pick a 1-3-1 comp.
That's a good way to explain it, yes. Which, honestly, side laning is pretty powerful in general in the meta right now. So I think it makes a lot of sense that it's great for denying picks. It's honestly good for objectives. Again, sometimes just the Paranoia Darkness is all you need. You don't even need to follow up on it.
Who knew that when Paranoia comes out, teams get paranoid around objectives?
I mean, it dead on. That's exactly it. As it looks like some other bans came through here. Weber banning away Ambessa after the Annie. Some alphabetical bans here from Weber. And Nocturne Karma and Nami. So two support-focused bans against Mystiques, who obviously has been a very strong member of Weber for a while now. We're super happy to have them. And it looks like with the first pick on Keiser here, what will they be going for?
Well, that's just plain rude. You ban out two of his champions and then pick his third. Shame on you, Keiser. Well played, but shame on you.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's an anti-Weber classic. I feel like we've seen so many different teams do this in previous drafts as well as today's now. So Pantheon locked in for Weber, though, was really nice. I like the global pressure as well. It can respond to a Bard ultimate at range, and it's good at point-and-click engage with the W at least. So we'll see if Weber wants to continue out with their identity of engage or disengage. It looks like with Nautilus, they're leaning more towards the all-in buttons.
Definitely some all-ins, but the depth charge can be used defensively. You throw it on someone that's in the back line, and it will hit the engage that's coming through onto you. As Oriana going to get locked in here for Keiser with a Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao does okay into Pantheon, does pretty well into Nautilus as well, can avoid a lot of that long-range things. So now it's up to Weber to decide what they want to do. I wouldn't be surprised here, though, if they just pick up their mid laner. Some things that Goku might like. Zier's not bad into Oriana. I was going to get to the fact that Akali is Goku's go-to. I'm going to bully the heck out of this Oriana. This clock's going down.
Yeah, it's a very standard lane into Oriana at this point, and it fits Weber's draft composition, right? You can see that Keiser is very much disengaged defense 101 with Xin Zhao, Oriana a little bit being a control mage with the movement speed, and of course Bard, right? Whereas Weber has just dive and engage. They want to find a target and assassinate them, and then find a second to do the same.
Weber State now going to start picking away ADCs that are really good into that. Sivir, very good. Has a spell shield. Also has the On the Hunt, which is a great engage and disengage tool. You can pop it and get so much movement speed away from engage.
Yeah, just trying to remove AD carries that have options if I had to guess. And you can see, inversely, we have Keiser removing all the AD carries. I said one for now, but I assume we'll see a second as well. Removing AD carries that have engage, right? The ability to go in and follow up on a Nautilus and an Akali. See what Weber wants to ban here last. Okay, yep, Quirky makes sense. Again, like you said, that option to both engage and disengage, the multitude of choices, and honestly, the lack of choices that Weber wants on the enemy AD carry is exactly why you ban these champions.
Yeah, now do they go for another ADC, or do they maybe pick a top laner, as the Fiora is actually going to come through here. So it is a, hey, Batao, we have an idea of something we like. No, you're not going to get to play it because you're obviously going to get the counter pick because that's what Weber does. They give Battelle the counter pick and he can run away with the game.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, if you're confused why Fiora of all top lane picks, this is Batau's bread and butter. We almost never get to see it in our games, but if you've ever seen Batau's profile in League of Legends, you'll know that is styled up with Fiora up and down. So happy to see it gone for now, at least. I don't think it would have necessarily fit Weber's comp. I mean, it's probably would have been fine, but overall, it means that it could be showing up later as looks like Keiser. Okay, we'll be picking up an AD carry, actually. I was going to mention that they need to blind pick a top laner as well. They're going to pick Jin for now, which is just a good, safe AD carry who can essentially act as pseudo-engage with Bard, right? A Deadly Flourish right after, say, a Bard Cosmic Binding. All possibly good options.
Yeah, after a Wind Becomes Lightning from Xin Zhao, the knock-up Orianna's Shockwave, and then a Deadly Flourish into the Curtain Call makes a lot of sense. Oh, the Fiora pick makes so much sense now. Gragas cannot play into a Fiora. His belly bump is slow enough that unless you're flash belly bumping, Fiora will always get the riposte off.
Yeah, that's makes a lot more sense. Like you said, looks like honestly, as a whole, Kaiser has drafted themselves a skirmish comp, whereas Weaver still has a bit of a dive comp here. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a great pick here. I wasn't thinking about that, but honestly, the Seahawks have a really hard time cutting through this. I mean, Gragas, Xin Zhao, Orianna can do it eventually, but it's going to take them a minute.
Well, it's also one of those things that Gragas doesn't get the free trade anymore. Belly bump is almost on cool. Like early game, obviously, there's a really big issue where the Mundo passive is going to take a while to recharge. But if Mundo's able to pick it up, it's on a low enough cooldown that it can be a really big issue for Gragas to have to deal with. You belly bump, try to get that Q and the phase rush to run away, and Mundo's just like, what did you do? Oh, Cleaver!
Yeah, I mean, it's a great way to put it. So hopefully we'll get to see some of that gameplay in the top lane. I don't know how much will be focused on top lane, honestly. Nautilus Ezreal sounds like an explosive bottom lane duo that I'm hoping to watch and find some enjoyment in. I think we're just about ready to jump into game here, though, folks. So give us just a moment as... Okay, we're getting confirmation from our casters that we're... Not casters, sorry, production. We're the casters here. All right, and here we are. We can see some summoner spells, some choices of runes, perhaps. Looks to be about fairly standard. The Electrocute on Bard is a bit more common nowadays. The Lethal Tempo on Ezreal may seem a bit odd, but in these long extended fights, it's really nice to have.
Well, and people forget that what's Ezreal's passive? Rising Spell Force. For every ability he hits, an auto he does, he gets ramping attack speeds. So getting that doubled with Lethal Tempo means that all of a sudden Ezreal's autoing you for a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, I mean, like, sometimes cleaning up fights and maybe able to turn on a Baron at the end of a fight as well. Lethal Tempo does stay for a little while longer at that. Looks like a early... Okay, I thought it was going to maybe be an early fight. No, just a cheeky pressure point in for the wards. Look here, folks. Mystique's showing a lot of pressure here for the sake of their mid laner. Goku getting a lot of work done. They're going to get the flash out of Rough Beans in exchange for the heal on Mystique's. And now actually in the bottom lane, looks like Cindy was forced a barrier as well.
Yeah, so a decent trade. The Orianna gets chunked out and has to flash away. Cindy only having to use his barrier was pretty good, but it is a trade of 2 summoner spells for 1, as the heal, like my good co-caster said, was used for that speed up. But getting Rough Beans in a rough spot is what Weber wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, losing the experience on some of those early minions is disastrous when early on in this matchup. This is exactly what the Yakali wants to do in this lane. It is bully. It is take the Orianna's lunch money, whatever she has, and make sure she goes home crying.
I don't think she can cry, but I mean, she can probably make crying noises. As top lane, Battelle is actually in a really good position. The Q and onto the minion to get the blunt force trauma through. I love that's the name of Mundo's E.
I mean, it's a phenomenal build name. Mundo's entire character is just incredible. It was already good before the rework, but post-rework especially, it's great as Mystique finds an insane hook around a minion there. Sendy choosing to send it all the way in. They'll still have flash, but they're going to respect Teddy's strength, walk away, and choose to take the pressure gained from the health difference.
Yeah, you actually see the auto attacks coming in from Sendy there, doing so much damage. The passive and Lethal Tempo really stacking up to just get... He probably got 2 extra auto attacks that normal Ezreal, if they weren't running that, wouldn't get. And now in the top lane, you see just what annoying it is that Battelle just has that passive to invalidate the belly bump, walks back, gets a little heal, and that passive will be back up here soon enough that UNC is going to have to struggle, as now flashless Orianna in a precarious position. Goku trying to be here. Unfortunately, Rough Beans does walk too far forward, and it is just Good night, sweet Oriana. We'll see you in Season 3 of Arcane.
Maybe, I don't know. I've mentioned that we could be going elsewhere in the world, but wow, an aggressive flash forward from Batao here, saying that they know they have the pressure to kill here. They can't be belly bop because their passive's coming back up, but unfortunately they can't find the angle to hit the cleaver. It looks like the minion just barely there to hit it is... Wow, what a crazy plays, a set of plays across the map. Maybe Mystique's being caught out here on the bot side, being forced to flash out and hook to their tower.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Batao in the top lane. He was hoping to get the burst of damage that comes from the W reactivation, and looks like it just didn't quite hit. But all in all, Weber State's still pretty happy with a kill on Goku, meaning he is ahead, going to go ahead and back, and I believe going to get the... Going to just flat out buy Sork Shoes. Ow!
Yeah, Sork Shoes are really important on most... I mean, just tier 2 Wizard Person mid laners early, right? Because of the upgrade, you get to them pretty quickly. But honestly, on Kali, especially in a matchup against Orianna, you need that movement speed. It is an Orianna with Phase Rush. While it has been nerfed on ranged champions, it's still a lot of movement speed to contend with. So I like seeing Goku pick it up early.
I mean, not to mention, it just makes his damage that much more painful. It will stick so much more. You already see potions being chugged by Rough Beans. You know, I'm just kind of looking at this Darksteel in Rough Beans inventory. I remember once upon a time when Darksteel gave you increased healing on your potions.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't... I guess it was long ago. I said it wasn't too long ago, but actually a great hook here from Mystiques does connect, and a double kill to the Nautilus. I suppose in this game, our support might end up being a carry.
I mean, there is a world skin for Nautilus. No. I'm thinking of Malphite mid, not Nautilus mid. Same player plays both those mid.
Yeah, I mean, good old shout out. Oh, I should know the name. It'll come to me in a second. Doomby. Shout out Doomby. Very cool player to watch. Honestly, Caps has played Nautilus mid before. Point is, Nautilus can actually be a pretty good carry, but usually they buy much more aggressive tank items than I imagine we'll see Mystiques buy. I think ultimately, on support Nautilus especially, the best thing you can do is get really, really early start on those defensive items. As you can see Batao, once again starting to win here in the top lane. In the mid lane, Goku may be in a bit of danger, trying to walk back to lane safely to deal with a semi-frozen lane, but can't do much because of the very good positioning by a Bard. You had Flash, could have considered going aggressively on the Bard, but will choose to play defensively. If they take the portal, actually, could be a lot of danger. No, they're going to choose to flash the end of it because they know Sendi's going to be behind them in just a second. Xin Zhao doing what they can to fight it, but now, without Six, is in a lot of danger here. And now it seems, oh, a great Cosmic Binding will save the life of both the support and jungler of Keiser as flash in from Goku. They have a very beautiful level 6 just barely hit and using some clean combos to pick up a great early fourth blood.
Yeah, Weber understanding Goku saying, go, 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 I'm gonna hit 6. And unfortunately, Rough Beans, you were left in a rough position, left out to dry there. Unfortunate, as Bio V2 couldn't do too much. Yu wants to look for this dragon. He knows that they have the prio. Jin is in the bot lane. Teddy not able to do things. And, you know, UNC just kind of trying to do what he can, but he's dealing with the Mad Doctor in the top lane.
You know, I was wondering, I guess we'll call him UNC for now. I was wondering if it was meant to be UNC or Unk, because I look at it and I want it to be Unk, because you imagine how many funny memes can come out of that. But for now, we'll call it UNC as Weber secures the first trade.
I am dying on the inside, because literally I was saying that going, I wonder, is this an abbreviation for Unk? I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh, the degeneracy that comes from playing League of Legends.
I mean, all I'm saying is if he makes a crazy play, then I have some potential fun jokes about it. It looks like the top side, currently there is a fight coming out that Unk is starting to win a bit more. You can see the Oblivion Orb picked up in the inventory.
Yeah, that Oblivion Orb just to try to cut through Batao's healing. But it really will just get to a point that, unfortunately for UNC, if you don't burst Mundo, he doesn't care that you have a healing. He will just walk away and let his Warmog heal him up.
Yeah, Mundo gets to the point where he has too much HP, and the problem is not stopping him from getting more mid-fight, but it's actually stopping him from getting more in general from like Heartsteel, right? Is Batao forced to pop the ultimate, try and heal, doesn't get a lot, but in the mid lane it looks like Goku did end up going down due to the double ultimates. No, actually it looks like Bio V2 did not end up having to use the ultimate, but still Goku goes.
Yeah, very well played, but it was a trade of ultimates in the top lane. The explosive cask for the I believe Mundo's ultimate is still called Masochism.
Is it? I thought it might have been like maximum dosage, but I don't know for sure.
Yes, okay. Maximum dosage. Mundo's old W used to be Masochism.
As Batao going in aggressively here, trying to make an aggressive play. Is that because, yeah, I thought so. There might have been a Pantheon on the way. Flash out from Monk, but they got to be really careful. They could still be in a lot of danger, trying to do what they can. I'm unfortunately afraid for Keiser that UNC going down to you.
It just really well played by you, understanding, hey, he's looking for a belly bump away, doesn't have flash, so I'm going to stand in front of him. I can survive the damage. There's no explosive cask, no risk of me being bumped into a turret. And Mundo, Batao simply understanding, hey, I have enough HP, I won't die, so I'm going to go in. Goku, even though he did die, still just up and farm, up and kills, just abusing this poor Clockwork Orianna.
She's doing what she can. Honestly, doing fairly well in terms of experience. As a whole, you can see that Goku barely ahead of him right now. Mystique's coming to the mid lane to try and give them pressure, knowing that the entirety of Weber wants to rotate up to these grubs, or down in the case of Batao maybe. Instead, it is UNC that gets down here a little bit faster. So Weber might need to be a bit careful. It looks like it'll be a 4v4, but only if Batao can get here soon enough. Yu popped forward very aggressively. Goku forced to ultimate out, and Yu has already used the defensive use of the Aegis Assault. Is now Goku under Ignite effects, so should be able to be seen. Will escape there just barely, and a great collapse from Keiser gets them the grubs.
Yeah, it was just a bad positioning from Batao. He had to clear out the wave. They're going to go ahead and steal one and know, hey, there's a lot of things that can happen, as actually Mystique's going in really aggressively on Bio V2. A really good Shuriken flip means that Bio V2 going to be in a bad position here. Will be the kill going over to Batao as he does flash to help secure it. Beautiful hook coming in from Mystique's, turning it around. Should be able to allow them to collect those grubs later in the match. We'll see what happens.
Honestly, that was a max range lollipop hook there from Mystique's. I cannot believe that just connected. Looks like Teddy will be picking up the bot wave as pressure will go a little neutral for a while. Some fighting up here on the top side. The Batao seems to be winning once again. Popping the maximum dosage to get the movement speed as well, but when missing the cleaver, they're going to have to respect it and back away. Still, a 1.1 thousand gold lead on Batao, and you can see that despite the fact they didn't make it to the grub fight due to an earlier, or rather a later recall, because they got back to lane first, I can't speak today, my apologies, the lane advantage is heavily in Mundo's favor.
And that is not something you like hearing, because you need to put Mundo behind, because if he can get items, get accelerated, he will go where he pleases.
Yeah, and right now where he pleases is currently towards the enemy nexus. If you have played against Mundo in any of these recent months, after it's been popularized by Alois, I know, was a big person on it, doing the push strategy, there was a lot of insane split pushing going on, and Mundo may be one of the best split pushing champions in the game now. It feels weird to say because I still identify champions like Fiora, Jax, right? Maybe Irelia a little bit, but honestly, Mundo's frightening.
The difference with those other split-pushing champions is you can kill them.
Ooh, a beautiful set of plays here. You even flashing forward for the sake of the W just to make sure that Bio V2 doesn't pop them backwards with their ultimate. Goku, a beautiful flash over the shockwave. Honestly, very shocked they got out. They're choosing to recall immediately in the bush so that Gragas can't get down here too easily and stop them. Mystique's prevents Bard from joining in the fight, which means that actually Yu escapes, and a clean set of plays from the mid-jungle of Weber. 2 flashes blown, but in exchange for a clean kill.
Yeah, GF over here trying to do something, but instead finds an anchor to the face as Mystique's, you know what, simply saying to this Bard, hey, you can have Bard, but I'm going to make your life a living nightmare. You don't get to pick this champion in front of my face.
I think Goku just got that kill with red buff, by the way, the recently stolen red buff. So a nice assist there from Bio V2 on accident, of course. Really, you could argue it's an assist from you helping to get the red buff onto Goku early. Looks like on the top side, Batao still running away with the lane phase. They have Warmogs complete, but Warmogs does not have enough health to give the bonus health regen, the extreme bonus health. Just has the bonus for a little bit. As Batao, a lot of danger, will pop the maximum dosage, attempting to maybe go for a bit of a fight, but will go down way too easily here as a lot of damage. Actually, no, survived just long enough. The explosive cast forced to throw Batao out maybe, and you will pick up 1 kill. Bio V2 walking up to fight Batao, but Batao is so fast with the slows, getting so much healing by a natural part of the kit, and survives for way too long. A beautiful play.
Yeah, the split was great from UNC, but Batao just able to make it not matter as Teddy will avoid the arcane barrage as Mystique's not able to get through the Bard portal in time. Yeah, just beautifully well played. You gotta hand it to Batao. He will now go where he pleases as he had. Oh, I was gonna say has the Swiftness boots, sold them, unsold them. Funny shenanigans that happen in the inventory, but the slows from Bard will not do anything.
Yeah, I think ultimately Batao is trying to decide whether or not to pick up the Swiftest boots for now and have a bit more mobility in lane, or to pick up more health to try and get Warmogs to the threshold. I don't think he had enough gold to pick up the Warmogs threshold Giant's belt, right? But it's close, so I understand why they were checking at least. As some attention here on the Rift, as Weaver is up a lot right now. Currently 3.6 thousand gold. They've got 5 plates and 2 grubs to Kaiser's 1 and 1. And with the second Drake coming up now, it looks like Mystiques is setting up for it.
Beautiful control ward here. Chemtech Dragon healed. It gave us a percentage of heal and shielding. So if you weren't killing Mundo before, how are you killing him now? Is UNC going to go ahead and dedicate his teleport? And Weaver might actually say, hey, you know what? This is okay. It's only the second dragon of the game. Let Batal cook.
Yeah, I think UNC knows they cannot give a Chemtech Drake, and they're willing to commit fully to secure the Drake, as Goku choosing to go out on the backside here. Orianna was 2 split at the start of the fight, and it looks like Goku will pick up a clean kill and be able to use the second part of the perfect execution outwards. Again, in the top side, this is the downside of overcommitting to a Drake play that you probably could have fought already. But now is getting more plates here in this top side, and now Mystique's in a lot of danger with a beautiful depth charge, will keep themselves alive for a bit longer. They have a heal, and they bait out the Jin Deadly Flourish. And now, maybe Keiser going way too deep here. Another clean kill onto the jungler, and now you, with a lot of movement speed from the Aegis Assault empowered by the passive, means that they're looking to do quite a bit of damage here. A nice set of stuns and roots means that you cannot go any further, but still, we were very happy with how that play turned out.
Yeah, just overly aggressive for the big man with an anchor, and Weber punishes. Mystique saying, hey, they still are coming after me. I'm going to bait them in, and now he's even harder to kill. Lock up the Iron Solari, finished. Miscendi has his Trinity Force. The Gunblade finished for Goku. It just does not look pretty for Keiser University.
Yeah, you could argue that honestly Mystique survived there just because of the double kill they got early, which is hilarious to think about because, yeah, they do have a double kill. Overall, though, most of Weaver's gold strength right now is on the 6.4 thousand gold lead they have, as Mystique's is seen hooking in there. Bard coming up here, I think maybe expecting to catch a lone Nautilus, but instead, the entirety of Weaver's mid-jungle and support here to back them up, doing a lot of work. Tried to jump over the wall, I think, with the belly bump, but didn't end up going over.
Yeah, UNC, unfortunately, will be paying for his support's crimes as he does get caught. Not able to burst out Goku there. Just not an accelerated enough Gragas top lane. He had to deviate for the Oblivion Orb to try to stop Batal, but it was just too little too late. And still wants that Rod of Ages, but we're 15 minutes into the game, and he doesn't even have it finished yet. It's going to be a very late game before that's finished for him.
Yeah, being forced to divert because you're dealing with a Mundo, I do feel for UNC. They're doing what they can, but it's a tough game for them. And of course, you notice that Weaver sends their bot laner mid, letting Sendy clear out some mid waves, have some more pressure, and let their insanely fed Mundo, who's good at split pushing, do exactly that. It looks like a Herald is being taken from Weaver while the Keiser University jungler is taking their red buff.
It's just a absolute beautiful display of macro from Weber, understanding where their pressure points are, knowing, hey, we can take all these things, we can bait this out. They really want these plays, but if we play it right, they're going to get greedy, going to have to find a way back into this game because we are in the driver's seat. And a lot of the time, especially with a champion like Mundo, you can't wait for him to come to you as just the healing. Yes, the Ignite is down, but Batal's still surviving for so much longer than he should. The maximum dosage keeping him alive. Unfortunately, GF will find the kill as Gragas is going to go ahead and go down. Now Mystique's finding a really good depth charge, and then Goku going in will get shut down as Teddy is surviving on a prayer and a Teemo hair. Weaver may be going too far as BioV trying to get onto him, but the flash still there means that he will get away. You now possibly going to go down, but a really good stun. But Weaver actually fought back really well. Overly greeting for this mid lane tower means that 4 kills go for 1, and 3 of them were shutdowns.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the play comes off the back of Batal going way too greedy there in the mid lane. Walking under tower with functionally no minions left just to try and get a plate or 2. Yes, they almost got it. I understand they probably want to be a part of literally every single tower that's been taken. Currently, if they do finish this mid lane tier 1 rather, they'll have participated in taking down every major tower on the map, which is hilarious. But it's a bridge too far, and yes, for a moment, Keiser spends way too much trying to take Batal out, and eventually they get it, but they don't spend everything. All they have to do is wait for their normal cooldowns to come right back online, and the moment they do, Keiser finds a beautiful turn on the fight, and they pick up an insane amount of shutdowns, as you said.
But I do still wonder, is it enough to get them back in the game? Mundo's full build already.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point. I think the only thing they get from here is more damage, realistically. I mean, yeah, you can go Dead Man's Plate, but that's utility, and you don't tend to do that when you have Swift Recluses. It looks like Goku, being caught out here in the top lane, does still have Flash, so if they need to, they can get out pretty easily, but they managed to escape everything from UNC, only getting hit by the Deadly Flourish far too late for it to root.
I mean, it also, he hadn't been hit by anyone, so it was never going to root anyway. Goku really just putting on those dancing shoes and going away. Rough Beans put into Patao. Unfortunately, you don't win this. Patao is just going to run at you, and he can, because he's Mundo, for pity's sake. As a Herald going to be used here to crack these turrets, and Weaver just in full domineering fashion, as now that Patao is in the driver's seat, as BioV here in the top lane will unfortunately miss the Wind Becomes Lightning onto Goku to finish off the kill. Mystique's here in the top lane, left under tower, gonna probably be a sacrificial man in armor, gonna do what he can, but unfortunately Rough Beans will now be actually dove under their own tower. And because Goku gets the back, he gets the teleport off, and everything just goes wrong that could for Keiser there.
Wow, Weaver's macro play there is goofy as heck, but it works out really well. Patao pushes really, really far in the bottom side of the map, forcing out a teleport from UNC, and the moment UNC commits the teleport, you can cover the play, and suddenly the top lane side of Weaver can survive, right? Goku and Mystiques might have had a bit of trouble if there was also a Gragas there to dive them. But again, because of the push and pull that Weaver has to doing so much work, and an Ocean Drake picked up for Weaver, their second of the game.
Yeah, Ocean Soul on Mundo, anyone?
I mean, seems pretty good. At a certain point, you're stacking like a lot of healing, and you could argue that especially with Heal Cut, the way Ocean Soul applies isn't as good. But I mean, on top of what Mundo's already doing, it's really fun to see. I hope we get to see Mundo fully late game, just face tank every fight in the game. But I don't know how much later we'll be going. I don't mean that in like a harsh way, but just if you look at the state of the game in general, right? Weaver is double the kills, almost 10,000 gold up, and you can see it best displayed, in my opinion, in the number of plates difference here. You can see 33 plates on Weaver to the 5 on Keiser. Is Patao walking forward onto UNC, trying to do what they can. Maybe a fight here on the top side breaking out, though.
Yeah, lots of damage starting to come in from Sendy. Now he has 2 items. He is going to be working on his Endless Hunger, I believe. I believe it's 3rd or 4th. I can't remember. Caulfield's Wardhammer builds into a lot of things, so Ezreal has options, is what we're saying.
I'm almost 100% positive it will be Endless Hunger. It's a really good item on Ezreal, and most Ezreals I've been seeing recently tend to build it 3rd. But I don't know. We'll see when they next reset.
I mean, I have seen some Ezreals build Shrill Grudge.
I mean, that's fair. Building out 3rd is really nice in a game where you're worried about movement speed and needing to make sure you can kite people out well, which, to be honest with you, is kind of this game, right? You have Xin Zhao, you have Goku being caught here on the top side, maybe, as GFB going for something will not find the connect on the Cosmic Binding to slow, so they're not going to risk the ultimate. They're just going to take the loss of pressure. They couldn't find Goku, and they'll let it slide.
Yeah, and I love what Patao is doing. He understands, hey, I'm full build, let's have some fun. Titanic Hydra, folks.
Sendy looking for some good damage here as a Deadly Flourish lands on Sendy to deny all of the rest of the plays. But yeah, I mean, Titanic Hydra on Patao, a good call out. It's exactly like I said earlier, right? Ultimately, all Mundo does late game is get damage. He doesn't need any more health. His health is just free damage. He doesn't need any more resistances. He's going to out-heal any damage he would be taking. So just damage, damage, damage.
Mundo, Mundo, Mundo. Beautiful things. And it's going to go ahead and calm down a little bit here. We were maybe looking for a Death Breath situation, basically saying, hey, are you guys worried we're taking the Baron? Because if you're not careful, it's going to be rough for you, Beans.
Wow, I am so sorry, Ref Beans. That was an insane play from Weaver choosing to go all in there. As Patao getting ignited does have anti-healing on them as a result, so it should be going down here quite easily. The CC, when layered properly, is enough to take out Patao, but man, they do an insane amount of work there in that fight in the meantime. Weaver is trying to do Baron. I don't know if they're going to do it this quickly. They really don't have a fast Baron with Ezreal Akali, right? No Leandri's mages, no insane auto-attack champions. So instead, they're going to play the bush insanely well, try to turn the fight around beautifully, and Goku going to say hello to the Jhin here. Jhin barriers to even try and stay in the fight even longer to maintain their ultimate, get the last shot off, but it's not enough. Sendy survives the flash forward from Bio V2, and that should be not only a Baron, folks, but a potentially the turning play of the game. As in the bot side here, too, you can see an inhibitor, okay, not almost going down. I'm glad the spectator managed to show us that.
It is just devastating for Keiser, unfortunately. They thought they had something, but Weaver getting off the death brush. Bio will be really trying for the hero play to kill you so that there's no smite, so maybe something can happen, but just too little too late. And sadly for Keiser, we were able to wait for Patao to respawn before taking the Baron. So now you have a split pushing Mundo who now has Baron as well?
Yeah, I don't know. It's looking pretty spooky, folks. This is quite the strong game. I want to shout out every member of Weber here. I feel like every single one has done incredibly well. It's insane to see Mystiques on a zero death Nautilus. When's the last time you saw a Nautilus never die? I mean, that could still change, right? I might have just brought attention to it only to caster curse it shortly, but we'll see.
You know, I have seen in recent games, we Riot Games has been trying to make Nautilus a jungler again, so they've tweaked his AP numbers so that, hey, maybe you can be like a burst AP mage. As I'm sorry, Rough Beans, you're just gone with the wind there. So Nautilus Jungle's actually been popping up a lot, like full AP Nautilus Jungle, and it's been insane. You build like Leandries into a Shadow Flame.
Well,
Crazy.
the tower just one-shots the tower functionally with the brand new Demolish. Obviously, it's about the same damage, but the way it works is a little different. So you can see Bio V2 here hovering around Fog of War, trying to keep their Jhin alive, but Goku does so much damage with just R1 there. I feel like if they could get close enough, they could get a clean kill. As UNC dies to Battalion on the top side, and Weaver is far forward in the base. They don't need to deal with the mid lane tier 3. They'd rather try and end the game with the Nexus as Teddy goes down as a Shuriken flip just barely hits. Maybe BioV2 can survive, but no, as the ultimate goes down, it should be a quick fall. Vital flashes forward, going for an aggressive play, trying to get more. Maybe not quite able to find anything. As Hugh Grand Star falls 2 inches forward, a hook onto the Orianna. Poor Rough Beans died in lane and then died as their Nexus fell because Weaver State will take a clean game 1.
You know, and that's just the rough thing that I've noticed with Orianna. If you don't have the team comp to support it, it's going to get dogpiled on. And we will see you guys for game 2. And welcome back, everyone, to Weber State Esports, where we are in our CLoL Championship tournament, where we are here in the losers bracket with Weber State Esports versus Keiser University, where game one, Weber had a decisive win, as we are going to go ahead and get into draft here pretty quickly for game two, as Weber has actually been put onto the blue side. The Keiser saying, hey, we want that fifth pick. We did not like the Mundo.
Yeah, I mean, counterpick put in a lot of work, but also I feel like this is the first time Weber has been forced to be on the blue side in like weeks almost. They've been on red side for so many games, and I think the one time they were on blue, I want to say they chose it. So this is the first time a team has forced them onto blue side in a while in terms of my memory. Again, if you remember differently, chat, please sound off. Hopefully you've been a long-term viewer of ours. I know I would have been, even if I wasn't, of course, a caster and a little bit of production here. I really do love watching Weber. It's just a blast.
Yeah, as bans looking pretty similar to last game. We have a Varus and a Nocturne. The Annie getting banned away. It always shocks me when Annie's like banned, because I'm just like, you never expect her to be good, and then all of a sudden Faker plays her mid lane once, and then everyone's losing their mind.
Well, it's so funny because like I could be wrong on the stat, but I'm pretty sure I heard people talk about the fact that Annie last year was picked a ton, had like a sub 50 win rate. Annie this year picked less in pro. She has like a 70% win rate or something. Annie's legitimately phenomenal right now for seemingly no reason. There's a couple reasons, but I am a little surprised about it.
Some item changes happened and some other things, but yeah, the Jace ban, interesting. So Weber kind of has an identity, something they don't want to deal with in the top lane. Obviously, they have an idea. As gonna first pick Nami. Okay, the Jace making a little bit more sense. Nami can counteract the Jace poke okay, but too many accelerated shock blasts, Nami can't do enough.
I think Nami also telegraphs, even though it's not as good anymore. I'm actually a believer that it's not good at all anymore. But Lucian Nami, I know, is still very popular. Quirky Nami is also fairly popular as well, but Lucian Nami is like a classic, right? It's what we tend to see in the past. With Thresh locked in, okay, Thresh a cool pick.
I'm thinking with the Thresh, I'm thinking some. I was gonna say something like an Aphelios or a Jinx, some immobile hyper carry, but no, they're just gonna simply say, "Hey, we're gonna pick the Lucian away from you." So now, does Weber? They're not giving me time to figure it out. I was gonna say something like funny, like Yunara, who can also kind of self-peel, but has that hyper carry. As Weber State really just going in for that all-in engage with slight disengage with Nami. Vi coming in here, very much lock in on Lucian and kill him. Sion. You know what? I look at this and go, okay, the Keiser has to ban away very specific top laners. Fiora is one of them. But now, here's your deadly trio. What other hyper carry top lanes do you get rid of? Do you get rid of the Camille? Do you get rid of the Jax? Do you get rid of the Gwen?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm going to throw another one in the ring. I don't know if it'll happen. It doesn't seem like something Weber plays, but Vayne top lane in pro play, unironically, has seen over 10 games recently, especially into what this ending competition is. Now, do I think it's great for Weber? Honestly, no. But they could do it.
I think Weber won't do it simply because they want one of these more bruiser top laners to have a little bit of HP on them, as they only have their top lane and mid lane left to pick. I mean, theoretically, they could pick Galio mid, and that's another tank.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Galio works well with the Vi Quirky combo. Usually mid laners that can be set up or follow up after a Vi, rather. Like Ahri, I know, is very popular as well. So they actually didn't ban the ones you mentioned that were major are Camille and Gwen, surprisingly.
It surprises me a little bit that neither one of those got banned. I guess Aatrox is pretty good because he has so many ways to interrupt the decimating smash that it's so frustrating to deal with. Also, we can hyper. Oh.
Wow, we really are just denying Yu's champs today, well, Weber's champs today, right? Bard picked, now Lucian and Viego picked in the same draft. I like the Viego. I think it helps, honestly, I think it helps out a lot. They're very heavy AD right now on the side of Keiser, but ultimately they needed like a hyper carry late game that they can play off of. And now every Thresh hook can turn into an immediate one kill reset as, looks like you were correct here, Deathbaka. The Gwen locked in for Weber. I like it. It's a strong pick.
Yeah, and now it really comes down to what does Weber want to play in the mid lane. Are they going to do something cheeky and go for like a LeBlanc he counter the burst going in, but Ahri, exactly what Weber State's composition wants. And actually, Keiser going to pick up the Galio, saying, okay, we can do some funny things here. I personally would have preferred to maybe see a Cassiopeia.
Oh, I like that idea as well, actually. Again, Cassie is one of those champions that you really have to play it, even nowadays, to be able to pick it. It's still a weird champion, even with some of the changes she's received that make her maybe more standard, quote unquote, to their champs. Things like boots being purchasable, just giving her more stuff. Even so, I don't know how I feel about the Galio. I think it can struggle. It's really good into Gwen if you catch the Gwen off guard, but it's really bad into Gwen if Gwen is allowed to hit you. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Also, one of the things you have to look at is I think we're going to be going into game here pretty quickly, but I want to just mention, how do you deal with Battao in a side lane?
Honestly, I think, weirdly enough, that might be the only place that they can deal with it. Because in team fights, you really have to, like, a lot of the champions on Kaiser's side have to go through other champions in order to hit a Gwen, right? And in a team fight, you have to go through the REV running at you. In a side lane, at least you have maybe like a Thresh hook hitting and then a Galio collapsing in on them, right? Like, Galio side lane pressure can be good. But overall, I don't know. I think you're not entirely wrong, though. It's still tough to deal with Gwen. Late game scaling, level 20 Gwen is frightening.
It's just kind of one of those things that not one person can deal with him alone. You have to dedicate, I would say, at least 3 people into a side lane, because Galio has to show up. You're going to have someone, the Thresh there to engage, or the Scion to engage. And then if those people aren't there, Weaver is winning the fight on the other side of the map.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think you're probably exactly correct about that. We'll see if Ref Beans can have a little bit of a better game today, rather in this game, than they did last game. I think they were punished mostly and picked into a matchup that they really struggle against, right? Akali and Orianna, a classic tough matchup for Orianna. But I mean, I worry for they kind of have to be the member that pops off, right? Because if they aren't, I'm not sure where the hope is. There's a beautiful hook here on the bottom side from GFB. I don't know if it matters, though. Lucian can't really follow it up super well on level 1. The place that Lucian wants to go in on is level 2, along with Thresh.
Yeah, it does get the barrier out of Sendy, so that is something that's pretty good. Sendy just popping it early as a threat, I believe, to say, hey, don't come in. I do want to mention one thing, though. Goku running first strike on Ahri, knowing, hey, he's never going to hit me. I am going to farm up and become a menace.
My favorite part about First Strike is the wording on it is very important, folks. It does say when you hit a target with First Strike, the damage they take is increased by a percentage for a couple seconds. That's just damage from all targets. If you didn't know that, it's really disgusting. If you've ever seen like a Bard take First Strike or something, you'll go wonder why. It's often because of that reason. There's a lot of extra damage being gained for your team through First Strike.
Yeah. It really does come down to, you have to pick it though in obviously when you can proc it. So it really comes down to having good matchups, and Goku knowing he's into a melee champion means that he will be able to proc it. Battao gonna go ahead and just be another threat to UNC.
Yeah, we'll see here on the bot side, Weaver being pushed in pretty heavily, Sendy and Mystique's underneath their tower, which makes sense, right? Especially with the early level advantage. There's a hook hit through an insane corner there. What played from GFB, but here comes the turn potentially. Weaver trying to do a lot in exchange. Sendy got a lot of health back, but the insane last second trade from Teddy as Sendy attempts to walk away is exactly what they needed. We've got Bio V2 in the vicinity, trying to find what they can, especially with a Galio roaming down to help secure a Scuttle Crab. It looks like overall it's just going to be a trade of Scuttle Crabs, though.
Very standard, typical, hey, you stay to your side, I'll stay to my side, and then I'll go to your chickens, you'll go to my chickens, and then we'll kill each other in mid lane.
Man, I hate chicken trades, especially when you're one of the junglers that's behind on the chicken trade and you just lose your chickens constantly. It's Battao getting a great trade here up on the top side. You can see exactly the early lane phase going the way we talked about. 24 farm to 13. Obviously, it's not much for UNC's downside, but now an aggressive play coming in here, going to choose to flash away UNC. I think that's the right call to make, but now a summoner down means that you can probably find a repeat play in just a second.
Yeah, UNC really getting picked on here. Battao understanding as a cheeky little ward will mean that Battao has to stop his back. But I almost wonder if it would have been better to let him finish his back. Unfortunately, though, Yu does go ahead and back, and now Battao is left out here. Does have flash on this Gwen. Gonna try to play cheeky and do anything he can, but it is just gonna be a first blood going over to this Viego.
That's a big deal. We said that Viego had to be the carry for Keiser, and honestly, that's off to a strong start already. That is the carry that needs a first blood. 400 gold up now, obviously, because of the first blood, but also a little bit of tempo up as well, so pretty good game state for Keiser across the board.
Yeah, I do love this overlay, but I wish that there was one thing that we could actually see the gold generated from like first strike. I know it's something that the League of Legends professional streams have. They can do all those fun things, and maybe one of these days we'll be able to get it, but today is not that day.
Yeah, there might be a way spectators could figure it out, but it would require something to show up on screen, so we'll see how it goes. It looks like a huge wave that Weaver is attempting to craft here in the bottom side as Goku maybe in an angle to catch out Rough Beans. I think, no, actually, Charm had not come out, so there it is. Rough Beans forced to flash away, but flashes while Yu is still mid-charge, which means a flash can be responded with. A beautiful return kill picked up as it looks like both of the junglers will be the playmakers in this early game.
It really makes sense, as Patao now here, still in a very good position, as in the bot lane, GFB probably finding another really good hook to kill Sendy. Probably didn't have his Valkyrie, did have his flash. Mystique's thinking skinny fish thoughts.
That was kind of crazy, but honestly, I'm really impressed by how well GFB has been landing these hooks. The ones that we have seen have been like through minions insanely well, as Goku choosing to ult topside to make sure that they could get over the walls fast enough. They missed the charm, but it doesn't matter. They'll pick up the kill in exchange for their time spent topside, and UNC losing out on a lot of pressure.
I mean, luckily he does have the Scion passive, so he'll be able to collect some of that, but it's still a huge wave that is going to go under the tower. He does, very luckily, have his teleport still.
Yeah, but overall, it's still 53 farm to 28 in the top side. And honestly, despite the fact that the farm is even in mid lane, a bigger difference there is a great catch from Mystiques to ruin the tempo of Teddy. Honestly, it doesn't matter a ton. The kill goes nowhere, but still, that's time that Sendy gets to scale and maybe get a little bit back here in the bottom side. They're still a bit behind.
Things calming down maybe a little bit. First Dragon actually does go over to BioV. He does have his Heartbreaker, so he is trying to get accelerated as fast as possible. Really, I'm looking at this build. I think that's going to be a Sundered Sky instead of a Kraken Slayer.
Yeah, this may be the Sundered Sky into crit build or Sundered Sky into Trinity Force build sometimes. You go with a lot of different builds you can go, but once you see what the first item is, they tend to go down the same paths.
I remember some really funny videos of full AP Viego.
Good times. Shout out Nithin, good old Darkmane. Phenomenal video. Obviously, of course, AP Viego really only has scalings on, I think, what, QW and R, which actually is a lot, to be fair, but I doubt we'll see that, especially with the longsword picked up as, whoa, okay, now that they've reset, we can see an early Trinity Force. They know they need to be the true hyper carry, so they need the aggressive, sustained damage from a Trinity Force.
Well, and it's also really wise because Trinity Force gives the help. You need to not get destroyed and burst out as Viego. Maybe this gives him enough to survive if he does get hit by an Ari Charm. I doubt it because Ari Charm is usually a death sentence on teams like this. It's really funny how I say Ari Charm's a death sentence when Thresh literally has a death sentence.
Oh, touche, actually, good point. I had forgotten that was the name of Thresh's, I believe it's Q, yes? That's the name of the hook. Fun ability name is... Yeah, I think the other benefit of Trinity Force as well is it lets you build like Death's Dance later in the middle of all that crit damage you're building. And again, like you mentioned, sometimes you just randomly survive and all in. And if you do, BioV2 could be the carry that Keiser needs. Still up a decent amount of gold as the hook will not land here in the bottom side from GFB.
Yeah, we were trying to get some gold onto Sendy here, just kind of farming up, doing what they can as ultimates are ready for teams. So explosive action is going to start happening. As I mentioned it, Teddy gonna go ahead and pop the culling. Gets a lot of damage down onto Mystiques, who does have to have both flash and heal just for the ignite on GFB.
Yeah, you could tell on the minimap there that we didn't get to see it, but there was a hook landed by GFB once more. Judging by the way that the Nami staggered, right? If you ever see that Nami icon kind of like stagger back and forth, remember that Thresh hook has that slight pull on it even if you don't take it. So looks like mostly just plate's going to be given here on the bot side from Weaver. They're going to have to play defensive, but Viego coming in on a ward means that we need to be really careful, and Sendy unfortunately will get hit by it. Needs to flash, maybe immediately. Actually, BioV2 pretty deep, doesn't get the kill with the ultimate, and now GFB goes down. Two Mystiques, of course, but now Teddy will be going down as well. No, the barrier is enough to keep Teddy alive in the back end of the fight, and BioV2 kills Sendy. So a clean set of plays, the roam from Rough Beans doing exactly what Galio needs to do, but in the mid lane, Goku getting a lot of time and potentially a play coming up here on the top side.
Yeah, you also getting all three grubs when you have a Gwen and this split pushing threat is huge. A really good use of the unstoppable onslaught to CC immune the Vaiku as you surviving on a dream of health. UNC doing really well to stop that dive coming through.
Yeah, really well played, as you said, from UNC. I think, honestly, Gwen might struggle to kill the Scion if they can't get a little further ahead here. And GFB in a beautiful position. They're on vision, and Patao does have flash, so might need to use it here. Going to choose to try and instead kill UNC in time. Oh, it's so close, and a teleport top from Goku should be what saves the play. Beautiful flash forward from Patao to end up picking up that kill. A nice play that I'm happy to see quite as well.
Yeah, Goku gonna go ahead and get a little bit of gold for his time getting the Scion passive, which I believe if you actually do last hit, it gives you like 25 to 50 gold.
Yeah, it's not bad, right? It's a minion's worth of gold. It's worth something. Much like, you know, last hitting a Daisy or a Tibbert, it feels nice. It doesn't really matter that much, but it feels nice.
Just remember, always fight for the last hit on the Nexus, plus 50 towards your next game.
Man, I wish that actually worked. Obviously, that'd be so broken. Could you imagine, like, an entire enemy team that all played different games and got the last hit and they're just up 250 gold at the start of the game? Just extra potion in lane, have fun. I don't know, it probably wouldn't matter that much, but it sounds so crazy to me.
So fun. Anyway, a lot more even of a game so far, as a lot of kills being traded back and forth. I like Batau's build going here, knowing he needs more of the sustained damage, going Riftmaker first, instead of the more aggressive Dusk and Dawn or Nashor's Tooth.
I could see them picking that up later, but honestly, I could also see them not picking it. They've got options here. For now, the game seems to be lulling just a little bit. We've got a Drake in 37 seconds, which probably will be the next point of contention, as you could be walking right into a Bio V2 here. The entirety of Weber, at least in the middle lane here, is spotted as a great charm is landed. But again, here comes Bio V2. Weber needs to immediately communicate that they're in danger, but actually, they baited it super well. They didn't know for sure that they were there, but they found the play really well, as it looks like Bio V2 will survive, but GFB will be the sacrificial lamb who is caught out by Weber and cleanly killed without a flash to escape. They're going to try and hook to the Gromp, try and death sentence their way out, but no, unfortunately, Gromp cannot save you from your real death sentence.
Yeah, and then Batau understanding, hey, I'm just going to be annoying. I'm going to start proxying waves. What is he going to do? Fight me? As I actually realized that UNC actually going for the phase rush to try to get away from Gwen when Gwen gets onto him.
I think that's the correct idea. If they had gotten behind, Grassly and Dying would have done literally nothing for them. So instead of trying to believe they were just going to get ahead and could start stacking it more aggressively, they decided to play it defensively. As Mystique's being caught out here, you're going to try and get Drake, but doesn't actually have Smite, so Drake will be stolen away from Bio V2, and Weber's pressure on the bot side lost all their benefit gone, and with great set of plays now here from Keiser as a bubble lands a great flash away from Goku. Thankfully keeps them alive, but honestly a bit of disastrous plays across the map here is Batau thankfully still winning on the top side.
Yeah, and because he is winning, he's going to go ahead and back here, get some more items. Actually, going to be able to save some of these minions, get another little chunk of damage down onto this tower. He wants as much damage as possible. The little Void Grub coming in means that he does get one extra plate, which is quite huge. The first tower race really going down here, as he's going to stay for this next wave top lane and really try to push for this tower. But Bio V2 is pathing that way, but with Unk coming back up, we'll go ahead and teleport top wave.
UNC having teleport does deny all the plays from Batau being able to do much here, as it looks like a major play happening here on the bottom side. Hopefully a dive for the side of Keiser that they will not quite be able to find. A beautiful flash out from Mystiques does save their life. But honestly, I like the pressure bot side, right? The strongest members of Keiser by a mile right now are Viego, yes, but especially Teddy, right? You can see the completed, I can remember,
Essence Reaver.
Thank you, couldn't remember for a second. Followed by the also completed Vandal Pipes on GFB, and on the side of Weber, really only Imperial Mandate on Nami so far, which means Mystiques is fairly even, but Sendi quite far behind.
It is the difference in gold because Essence Reaver is so much cheaper than a finished Trinity Force.
Ooh, Bio V2 seeing Goku hit the Raptors there as they are over the wall, choosing to now commit to it. Looks like you was pinging it, wanting to do something, but will instead say that, hey, can't really contest it at this point. Bio V2 has the better smite, so the best thing I can do is just take my red buff and wait.
Yeah, really what Weber is saying is, hey, in Batau we trust. He's going to have to get ahead, going to scale into Oblivion, and then he starts split pushing. And when Keiser has to go deal with his split push is when we can start winning in other lanes, as the needlework coming out just to absolutely decimate UNC here is going to have to use his ultimate to run away, and Batau is perfectly fine with that happening, knowing he can just keep being this undeniable presence that Keiser has to come up with a game plan to win. But here in the bot lane, cheeky little side flash from GFB. You going really deep, unfortunately, means that he most likely will be going down here. Actually going to go ahead and get away. The death sentence does go ahead and hit back onto you, as you see that little bit of funny riot coding, meaning the death sentence does go back and leap onto him.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the pick found on Teddy there. Flash and barrier used, and flash from GFB at the end of that play, obviously. But it's really hard to find a play like that engaging when you know a Galio is going to easily collapse and find the defensive play. We're going to find position here in the mid lane. We'll actually almost hit the charm. Honestly surprised that the Grasping Maw from Viego, or I think is the name of it, managed to hit there.
Yeah, it's again just weird riot coding on a lot of these things. Now though, BioV could be in a really bad position as a charm hits. Yes, a lot of stuff going down, but no ultimate means that Viego cannot hop onto people, and Goku now in a really good position. Another charm coming in means that this Gwen is unleashed.
You said it, Death Baka. In Batao we trust. 4,000 gold lead on the Gwen, but honestly surprised Batao able to find the timer there. It looks like they're going to rotate down on the bottom side as well as Goku teleports top, and the lane states enter the mid game phase with the bottom laners in the mid lanes and an ultimate missed by UNC trying to kill Mystiques, but with a great use of the bubble might be able to escape now. Yu's in a good position as well, and judging by the fact that you can see UNC needs to recall, they're worried about Batao on the side lane, but instead they're going to let Batao get the pressure they need and try and find plays here on the top side instead.
Yeah, you actually staying a little bit too long means that it's a really good wombo combo onto him. Now going to do everything he can. Does actually get the Vault Breaker over the wall with a flash followed by UNC. The Roar of the Slayer going to be used to try to slow him down, but the Vault Breaker on a low enough cooldown to get him away and out of danger. But that does mean that Rift Herald is undoubtedly going to go over to the side of Keiser. But Weaver actually saying, we're not so sure about that. We still have a Nami, we still have you, we have a lot that Goku can provide to us as the Spirit Rush is now off cooldown. The charm does miss, meaning that Weaver needs to not overcommit.
Well, it looks like the Herald being dropped immediately here is a potential way to like do an engage in a fight, right? I know that's very common to see is, looks like, yeah, they're going to go for it. BioV2 hopping into the Herald, doing what they can. They're going to have a really hard time turning it around this corner, but they managed to find the angle. Going to hit the tower with it as well, and it looks like Mystiques will not be going down actually immediately, and the culling isn't able to hit onto you for most of its charge, which means it takes so long to take him down. Yes, they do go down, but now Cindy's in a beautiful position here. Can they turn the play around? No, BioV2 getting another reset, doing quite a bit of work. Ooh, Goku finding the angle to go forward, over, get a nice charm, but now it looks like Cindy will not go down. A beautiful play actually, and Weaver managed to trade fairly even, no, dead even in the top side.
Very well played, but in the bot lane, we have the Batao show getting another I believe all 5 turret plates, because Weaver had not even been at that turret. He now has his Dusk and Dawn. Yeah, Gwen's full build. Why do we keep saying this with Batao? He's 2 items in full build.
It sure feels like it. Playing champs that spike hard in the mid game once they have a few and never get weaker from there. We'll mention BioV2 also hitting a massive power spike as well, right? You can see the Trinity Force was already completed and now completed the Collector, which is a phenomenal second item for Viego. As actually GFB could be in danger. Great cancel on the Vault Breaker as UNC's ultimate comes out, kind of crashes into a wall there, which means Silent ultimate being down for Drake is a pretty major deal.
Yeah, but Tao being here is huge for Weaver. The amount of damage he will be able to start pumping through. Doesn't know, though, that he's on a ward, so we'll have to dash over this back wall, though maybe not, as a beautiful charm into a bubble means that UNC is just absolutely hit. But now, the Tao in a bad position. Has to pop the needlework quick, but just the absolute CC chain. And now, the most powerful member of Weaver is on the side of Keiser. Goku doing what he can, but the culling not doing enough. BioV gonna start getting a lot of damage down with these collectors.
Yeah, and it looks like Weaver has exactly what we were worried about when drafts come through. Yes, the Gwen is very strong, but ultimately, if you can assassinate them easily enough, it will be a clean pickup, and Weaver loses their entire strong gold lead pretty much everywhere. Viego goes even further up in strength, and ultimately, the game is starting to slip out of Weaver's hands. This is the soul point Drake for the side of Keiser, which means every Drake after this is a potential soul.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. But Tao not knowing he was on vision means the Death Hook hits before the Hallowed Mist can come out to protect him.
And just like that, we enter a game state of tight moments, close margins, and insane potential plays, right? Right now, it feels like there are 2 members strong for Weaver, and they're the solo laners, and there are 2 members strong for Keiser, and it's bot jungle. Everything comes down to, can both teams play around those members and dodge the plays being made by the opposing team?
It will be interesting to see how things pan out, as we see a lot of pings coming in from Weber onto possibly going for UNC, getting him further behind, which I don't know if I like too much. He's already far enough behind. He's gonna be useful no matter what in a team fight. Maybe hit a decimating smash, but Tao needs to find a way to accelerate, get these gold down. The hard part is that Rough Beans can answer him in the side lane and just ult away, but Gwen cannot stop Galio from ulting.
Yeah, so we'll see if that ends up playing a major role in this. As we can see, actually, Rafine's going for more of the damage like we talked about. They did need to build the damage today with the only AP source. Matao will be spotted on a ward. It looks like we were spending the entirety of their team in the mid lane, trying to make sure they get this mid 2-1 and maybe find a member afterwards, trying to one-shot GFB here, it looks like, in time. They're going to send everything for it, knowing that ultimately a lot of the gameplay right now seems to be getting kills and not letting Viego get these resets, so all of the setup members are more important, and right as I say that, they find the kill into Viego, and Goku doing so much work in this fight. You found the initial pick, but Goku finding a play on the backside to assassinate the Lucian, and now is raining damage down through the members of Keiser. A beautiful set of plays for Weaver, and folks, check that timer. In 8 seconds, Baron will be spawning, and I think Weaver set their eyes on it.
Yeah, you know what? You got the Gwen, and funny enough, Batao almost survived. The just most unfortunate timing there for BioV, as Batao did die before he did, but you're no longer invulnerable when taking an soul as Viego, so he's still able to go down while trying to possess Batao.
Yeah, there's a tight window there that you can still get hit in. It looks like they were able to hit it because you're still a little bit invulnerable when possessing the soul, like for a second, when you're inside the soul, right? But for a short window when you try and take it, you can get hit, and it is that window, like you say, Deathbaka, that Weaver found. And that's a huge deal. You can see now the only major gold lead left in the game for the sake of Keiser is the Viego, as Lucian, respectfully, I don't think 10, as much as we mean, tiny gold leads, 100 gold or so is not enough to be accounted as a major.
Especially now that Corki has the range advantage with the Hextech rockets, and Batao on second jungler duty saying, hey, you know what, you're playing a support jungler anyway. You don't need these chickens. I need these chickens.
If we turn off nameplates for a second there, I would believe it was you on Gwen. We know that they have played it in the past, so overall, it looks like a lot of just split pressure coming out here on the map. 2 minutes until Drake, and it looks like in the top side, UNC trying to push for a major tower. Meanwhile, every other member in the game walking here to the bottom side. Keiser trying to set up a major death brush, which I don't think the goal of it is really the death brush. It's to set up a follow-up play here in just a second. You can see Mystique's semi-aware that it could be happening. They're going to see a lot of pings coming out here, and a teleport comes down as well. Batao doesn't... Okay, no, Batao does have someone to teleport to, and we'll find it. Again, all this is about is finding the initial play, but when Mystique survives that initial engage, it means that the play kind of fizzles out for both teams. It's really hard to find a play. Never mind, Goku finds an incredible flash charm here, and that could be the exact play that wins them the game. Weaver assassinating through every remaining member of the enemy composition. The moment the VA goes down, the solo carry composition of Keiser falls apart. Yes, the Lucian is strong, but in late game compositions like this, he can't cut through the Weaver by any means.
Especially because of the Mortal Reminder bot second to try to deal with the healing that Gwen gets from her passive. I personally don't like it too much. She doesn't heal as much as a lot of people think.
I think it's more so that Gwen has Conqueror and Gwen, Vi has Conqueror, and there's a Nami in the game with both heal and Nami, right? Now, for what it's worth, I think it's not as important. I agree. I think it would have been better to let someone else build it. But I understand why they built it. Yes, Weaver's a lot of healing, but yeah, it just puts Lucian that little bit further behind in strength, right? LDR has a little bit more armor pen, right? The passive that's much more useful in terms of damage. And it's moments like this that mean that it's going to be really tough as, ooh, it looks like something to point out there, Deathbaka?
Yeah, speaking of Lord Dominic's regards, Corki usually doesn't go crit much. But a Lord Dominic's regards on Sendy means, hey, your Scion is no longer an unkillable monster. I mean, he's been killed plenty of times. But also the Ahri build. Going the tank Ahri, the Malignance for your ultimate, and then into a Bloodletter's Curse, Leandre's Torment, 10-stack Dark Seal.
I gotta say though, despite all the other members we've talked about so far, the player of the game for me is absolutely Goku. Some insane engages and picks that, just like this one, that have been determining the entire game as Yu goes in now, undeterred by the lack of a support there to disengage. Rough Beans goes down far too easily for their liking, for they are heavily AP. And yes, you can see Scion trying to pick up a mid lane to try and prevent the wave from crashing too far, but unfortunately when they have a bot lane, a play like this isn't worth it. UNC can't deny one wave, yes, but Weaver still got enough minions up. They have a cannon to take down this tower, and BioV2 optimistically looking for hope here.
Yeah, it's just one of those sad things that Viego sometimes can one-shot a squishy by himself, but his kit is not designed to one-shot on his own, and just not going to do enough. The ult from Scion unfortunately not going to hit, as he will be going down into his passive. Going to try to run some people down. A good hook means that Mystique's will be going down, but it's a little bit too late. Viego not able to hop in. The Galio is here, has a good taunt, but funny enough, a lot of Weaver's members are fine being taunted because like, we still want to auto you.
Yeah, and it looks like they'll be autoing the towers here down trying to make sure they can close out this game 2 in dominant fashion. The Gwen Needle are cutting through 2 different members, nearly killing both, and it looks like the rest of Weaver will pick it up. Who gets the plus 50 this game? Looks like Patau will pick up an additional 50 gold for next game, folks. We'll see if they have a potion in it in just a moment. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome back to Weber State Esports once more for our game 3 of this best of 5 that we're going to be jumping into in a bit here, where Weber State University is going to be up against Keiser University.
Yes, it's been some very interesting games. Kaiser having a really good showing last game. They really fought and made Weber play for it. And then the mid game happened, and then Batal happened, and things just kind of fell apart when Viego kept dying before he could start doing the hippity hoppity, you're now my property.
Absolutely. The downside of Viego comps is that if he's really the only carry, you have to find him resets. And at the end of the game, honestly, Goku, player of the game there, maybe player of the series. We'll see how this third game and many subsequent games go. You know, this could be the end of the series. As of course, Weber, as being up 2-0, this is match point for them. And we'll be ready to jump into draft here as it looks like teams are ready to go. Weber put back on the blue side.
I mean, they were on it last game as well. Kaiser simply saying, hey, you're not allowed to have a 5th pick, Weber. We don't like it. As here come our fearless band, so you can see the champions that will not be joining us this game.
They have already joined us. They cannot join us again. Neither the bands or the picks can be those champions. So say au revoir to them. If you haven't seen our earlier games, then, you know, there you go. And it looks like band's going to be somewhat similar in this game 3. That makes sense. They tend to stay the same.
Yeah, Annie, Karma, okay, is Nocturne not going to get banned? Weber, I find it interesting that Weber is banning Varus when their first pick, but I guess maybe they're putting higher priority on like a mid lane or it's not a mid lane, a support and jungler. So I guess that makes sense. As Ashe, that's the first change up.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that is a new ban. I guess trying to cover for Ashe Seraphine. As Jace being banned, we've seen that before at least, so that's very similar. And we'll see what the last ban here is from Keiser. Okay, looks like it will be the Ambessa. Okay, so the Nocturne is left open. Maybe Weber wants to first pick that. Maybe they're looking for other things here. I don't know. Let's see what they've got in their wheelhouse here.
A Nico.
Okay.
I hate everything. I love Weber, but I hate Nico.
I actually did not know that about you. That's an interesting fact I've learned about you today. I love this champion. I think, I will say I hate the interaction it has with minions and monsters. I really hate that. I don't think you should be able to tank 5 cannon shots as an eco and walk out 3/4 health. Like, whatever, you know. Looks like Keiser will have to find something here. Probably a support as well to answer into it. Maybe need a carry. Or maybe they just drop it to later, right? Could go for a jungler early as. Okay, so it'll be Seraphine.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of interesting. Especially with them having banned away the Ashe.
Yeah, it's a good point. Oh, something caught in my throat. I went to respond and. If you could continue.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that they were wanting to ban away the Ashe so that they, that Seraphine wasn't an issue, which I still find kind of funny because you're getting the first 1-2 pick. So unless they're picking Ashe and then you're picking Seraphine in response, Blue's almost never getting the Ashe Seraphine. They could have had it. I mean, Yunara's good. Yunara has some setup. When she transcends oneself and then does her W, that is a slow that Seraphine can then root off of. It just comes down to what Weber wants. Ooh.
Wow.
So a lot of know you abilities in here to say, I'm going to dodge that. You have Nefiri's W, which can just dodge the Seraphine ultimate and the roots. Now, Kai'Sa, I like Kai'Sa Nico. That's very good. A big pop blossom into a Kai'Sa killer instincting onto your back line.
Yeah, and we'll see what Keiser wants to pick up here. But so far, Weber once again back on the dive train. It's clear to me that Weber is feeling the dive today. They've got so many different things open. And I would like to see probably a jungler picked in response here from Keiser. There's a couple different options open at this stage of the game. Like Jarvan is still available, though I don't know if Jarvan's great into this comp, but we'll see what happens. Whoa! What?
I mean, haven't you heard of Heimerdinger Jungle? It's absolutely broken.
Okay, I guess. Wow. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would have named Heimerdinger if you asked me to name like 50 champions in a row that could be picked here. That's crazy.
And here's my question. Is it top lane? Is it mid lane? Is it support?
Oh, yeah, because Seraphine could theoretically go mid. I mean, honestly, it's a great question. With the flex potential of Heimerdinger picked, the last time we saw this in pro play was the Ashe-Heimer duos in 2022. Shout out Beryl, one of the most fun Heimerdinger players to watch of all time. They ended up getting their world championship off the back of that pick as well, so pretty cool.
I do think it is more likely a Heimerdinger mid as top lane bans are still coming. Well, top lane bans are coming through, so maybe it is a Heimerdinger top.
It's a good point. I mean, I feel like there have been top lane bans pretty much every game for what it's worth, even in games where neither top lane has been picked. So I think it could still be Heimer mid. I feel like it's gotta be Heimer mid. Weaver kind of needs to pick up some more AD, I would argue. Well, okay, I guess Kaiser can go full crit, right? But my first thought process when I see a Kaiser is the hybrid AP build that ends up being just mostly poke AP late game. So Weaver pretty heavy on the AP side right now, unless Kaiser goes full crit.
Irelia ban makes sense. It can go mid lane into Heimer, or it can go top lane into Heimer and do really well into both. Weber bans away the Wukong, so banning away junglers that are strong into the Neferi. Okay, that kind of makes sense. What will their final ban be?
If this okay, and it is locked. Clearly, they were worried about the Rengar threat potential. I mean, it's pretty good into it's pretty good into all these champions, right? It can one-shot Nico fast enough. It can kill Neferi fast enough. Neferi can dodge. I don't know. I guess they want to just remove the outplay potential of it, right? It's scary. So I understand the removal of it, but with that being done, what will the jungle lock-in be? I would be 100% positive that top lane comes last for Kaiser for the sake of counterpick. So what are they looking for here? Ooh, okay. I feel like we haven't seen this as much recently, and it's honestly not as good as it used to be. But in a late game scenario like this, where you need a hyper frontliner that can be shielded by Seraphine, Skarner's pretty good.
Could also, funny enough, it's not as good as it used to be, like we've mentioned. Still could be a Skarner top lane.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah, you're not wrong. Maybe just leave it open as a potential flex pick. Options left open. All right, well, Weaver needs to find some of their picks here, both mid and top, unless they want to flex the inferior Nico mid lane. Is okay, Aurora picked. I like that a lot. That's a flex, but obviously the flex has to be killed near immediately, right?
I mean, I like it a lot because it goes really well into Heimerdinger wherever it is going. She can kill his turrets so quickly.
It's a good point,
from,
yeah.
From out of their range.
That's an extra good point as well. So Weaver probably needs to pick up a top laner then, or whatever they can go to either lane that can match. So we'll see here. Okay, they're going to pick a Ryze. Never mind, that probably is Ryze mid lane or a top lane, or it could be.
We've seen Batel play Ryze top.
I'll be honest with you, my biggest concern when seeing that is not where they're going, it's where's the AD damage. Like, Sendy now has to go full crit Kai'Sa, I would argue, because if they don't, that's the freest magic resist game for Skarner of their life.
You haven't seen crit AD Ryze? What are you talking about?
Crit AD Ryze. I mean, I'd love to see that day. I think this is a phenomenal last pick here for... Okay, I'm going to be honest, for the first time in the series with that locked in, I really feel like Keiser kind of won draft. Okay, obviously Heimer's in the draft, and it's weird to say when there's a Heimer draft. But I think Skarner, Zahen, Seraphine is a front line for the ages. Like, that's frightening. With the amount of magic they're allowed to build, because yes, even if Keiser goes full crit, she still does like 20% magic damage.
I do agree, but there's also the fact that Keiser has to engage. Weber has a composition that can actually poke and keep away. Yes, Neferi wants to engage, but you have Keiser that can poke, Aurora that's slippery, Ryze that's annoying, and then all of a sudden, once you've poked them down, all of a sudden, out of nowhere comes Nico from the top rope.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. I think there's a good chance, actually, that this game comes down to Mystique's flash Nicoing onto the backline. Because if Yunara, Heimerdinger die, I don't think Seraphine, Zahen, Skarner can get through the remaining members of Weaver, right? It seems really tough. As potentially, thank you, Chad, for pointing it out. I think they might have removed the Nico cannon interaction. I'm not 100% sure, but if you believe that is the case, then it's very likely so. Which, thank goodness, that champion was so broken with that. It was so stupid.
I mean, my understanding of also one of the funny things is I hope the enemy team isn't watching stream right now, but I believe there's also an interaction. I want to say it's in non-ranked games, so technically this works, that you can actually turn minion HP bars off, and if Nico is transformed as a minion, her HP bar does not disappear, so you can instantly tell when Nico's faking to be a minion.
That would be pretty interesting. My recommendation would just be count your minions, folks. Obviously, it's easier said than done. But the reason we have the ability to talk about this is because we've got a little bit of a delay before we get into the game here. My favorite tech against Nico, genuinely, is that just click tab every once in a while. If you don't know, if you can see where Nico is, even if you can't see Nico, there will not be a question mark over her portrait in the tab menu. So if you just occasionally click tab every few seconds when you're expecting a Nico, the moment you no longer see that question mark, that means Nico is spotted. There's somewhere on the map you can see Nico and you can play around it.
One of the fun things I do find is that if Nico is low enough health and is any type of minion, monster, funny thing that a jungler can smite, it will actually deal full 1400 true damage to Nico.
All funny interactions. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Right now, Weaver has... Wait, can Nico turn into one of Neferi's dogs? I don't know if she
Oh.
can actually. Wait, please tell me she can. Oh, I need to see this.
I don't know because I think it's considered a part of Nefiri, so it's the champion itself. But no, I'm remembering a video now. She can.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Okay,
I've seen a video where a Nico jungle, a Nico support turns into the enemy Nefiri's pet.
maybe it matters if it's enemy though. I don't know. Obviously, we'll have to find out once we get in the game. I'm hoping it'll be that case, but we've got just a second or two more here before we get in the game. I think we're just about ready here though. So now let's see how this game plays out. If Weber can clean out this series in a 3-0 sweep, or if the final draft here from Keiser could be what saves their game. Okay, first thing to talk about, major stuff. Heimerdinger, not usually seen, has Conqueror and Exhaust. If you think Goku is going to play the game, think again.
Well, it's also kind of funny that Goku's playing Rise. He's not going to play the game until he wants to play the game.
Touche. I think ultimately the Exhaust is there to deny you, right? You being most of the AD damage, even with Sendy likely going more AD. You is heavy assassin AD damage, and the moment Nefiri tries to dive in, Exhaust just denies that fully.
Well, it's also one of the things that Heimerdinger likes is actually BioV getting just absolutely chunked down. His Conqueror fully stacked. Gonna go ahead and back out as they know they don't have the cooldowns to actually start it back up and get it. I was gonna say Heimerdinger loves Exhaust because you jump into him, you exhaust him, and then he can RQ and just lay waste with his abilities. I do like Heimerdinger in the fact that it negates Weber's engage. The fact Heimerdinger loves being engaged up on.
Looks like there was a fight for the Raptors, which actually BioV2 mostly won. You can see the 2 farm that they have, and also the smite being used from BioV2. They managed to win the smite fight, which means you're in a bit of an awkward position here.
Yeah, wins the smite fight, but Yu does have his own smite, so he'll be able to go back to his Raptors and eventually be decently far ahead. Nefiri clears really fast, as this is going to be a miserable lane for you. I mean, every single lane this series has been miserable for UNC.
The difference is, for once, I feel like UNC is maybe the better fighter in the late game, right? I know Aurora's pretty good, but Aurora's much more about the burst angles and team fights. Goku using the towers of Heimerdinger against them to bounce onto it. I like this play from U13 as well here, obviously. BioV2 walking in, expecting you to have gone to their blue side and maybe being able to fight early, but being punished immediately, which means BioV2 spent all that time after their wolves to walk down here and has now lost that time.
Yeah. It looks like there was some shenanigans going in the bot lane, as Mystique's having used both his flash and heal for neither of Teddy or GFBs, so quite interesting. Now has to actually be pretty careful as Skarner is on this bot side, and Weber does not know that.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, you did not see BioV2 as they walked down. As Mystique needs to walk away. It could get rooted here, will not be as... It looks like Sendy going for a bit of a cheeky recall here. I like this a lot. Oh, but will be spotted, just barely denied with the W. And once again, as BioV2 is clearing down here, you can see some pings coming out. It's pretty clear that Weber is possibly aware of this, but they're not sure. That ward there might be what saves their life.
Yeah, instantly seeing it. Sendy having the perfect timing. The beat drop from GFB, I believe that's the, beat drop is the Q, I believe.
I'm not fully sure.
It's music named abilities. The only thing that we care about is the encore, or as one of our good friends like to call it, the yaw.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta hit him with the yaw. As Goku getting hit with a really strong combo. A beautiful flash away probably saves their life. But BioV2 taking a few tower shots. You can see Goku going for the ghost. Doesn't have the flash to follow up on it. And now Rough Beans trying to pick up the kill themselves. Goku needs to dodge the last spell here. But does manage to dodge enough, although they're mostly just being autoed down. And now it's a tense situation here in the mid lane, folks. You going in for the Raptor respawn here, telling Goku, wait just a bit longer, we can play it out, it'll be really good for me if I get this respawn, I'll be so far ahead.
The chicken wars back in full swing here. Goku going to be able to heal up quite a bit from the potions he has. You see that exhaust coming in clutch. It just meant that Goku could not get close enough to get onto BioV, but now Rough Beans could be in a bad position. The counter gank not being able to come in here, as Goku going to go ahead and get taken down, as Rough Beans is not in the turret, and now you fighting in all of Heimerdinger's turrets is a rough position. We'll go ahead and get the kill and then dip out. So it is a trade of 1-for-1.
Yeah, Heimer had flash, but chose not to use it there. Camera goes flying upwards. Well done, observers. I don't know which one of you did that, but either way, here we are watching Batao smack UNC in the top lane. You can see Batao actually in a bit of a weird position. Yes, they've got a big wave to pick up, but they're actually down in experience for just a little bit. 1 or 2 more minions should give them 5 back. I think the next minion will. No, okay, looks like it will be 2. So that's a bit of a weird situation for Batal for just a second. They're starting to lose out in trades and could struggle a bit here, but now with the spells on UNC being down, Batal has a window to try and fight. Instead, no. Honestly, UNC playing this really well here in the top side. This is what I'm talking about. I think this lane is actually pretty fine for UNC. They can survive quite well.
Yeah, a lot of healing that can come in, be annoying. You do see that Null Magic Mantle was actually bought first to try to help with the survivability, though farming could start to become an issue when Batal gets enough AP to just one-shot waves, and then UNC has to walk up and take a bunch of spell rotations to get his own farm.
Honestly, it seems like we were a bit on the back foot across the board, other than in jungle. They really need to rely on you to find these angles because you got that Raptor respawn, right? Denying Bio V2 the tempo that they need and letting you slowly tick up their own tempo seems to be the way to go. As a nice early control ward on Drake means they have good early pressure. Goku level 6 already, and Rough Beans as well walking up. They are level 6, but honestly in a bit of a weird position here in the mid lane. They still have flash. I don't think they'll need to use it though. They should just be able to walk out with the speed of a Heimerdinger.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Heimerdinger, I believe it's part of his passive. Oh, it's actually in the top lane. Level 6 is hit, and UNC finds the kill, as I do not remember what the ultimate for Zahen is called.
I want to call it like World Breaker, but I think I'm just stealing Aatrox's name-ish, right? I don't know what's going on in my head on that end, but Mystiques will spot the Drake is being done and actually managed to scare off with the help of the mid-jungle Bio V2. The Drake will reset here and waste a lot of time, which means once again, you, if they want to, can just head back to farming. They've spent enough time here.
Yeah, Mystiques here trying to be frustrating. Maybe going to do a lot. Going to see what they can do. As if they find actually really good ultimate from Rough Beans means that Mystiques is in a bad position. Will go down. Goku going to go ahead and get out as well with a beautiful Realm Ward. You trying to go back in. Will try to find BioV. Sendy flashing in to finish them off. Goku, unfortunately, with the assist of the dragon, will go down. And now Sendy is in a 1v2. With the supercharger, will be able to run out and get away, though. All in all, though, way better for the Keiser.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Weaver denies Drake, sure, but Yunara was the beneficiary of pretty much all of that. 2 kills and 1 assist now, which is frightening. The next time Teddy takes a base and gets back, they should be quite far ahead. At least Sendy picked up 1 kill to somewhat even it out. And what Sendy does have 6 now, pretty early, which means there's an angle that Weaver could look for here, maybe. Mystiques does need to hit 6 themselves, though, to be able to find those flashy engaged Nico plays that we've seen from times long past.
All right. That being said, Goku's still in a really good position, has pretty good components onto his Rod of Ages, so he's going to start to be frustrating. Batal just kind of back into farming, starting to find that poke, has some ability power. That Hextech Alternator probably going to turn into, what item would that turn into first?
If I had to guess, it's the item that every mage in the game loves these days, Rocket Belt. Especially Aurora. Aurora is honestly pretty much the first mage to start popularizing that, right? It's weird to say, like, the first mage too, because it's a champion, not a player, but actually, it looks like UNC will be caught out here, because you barely hit 6 off of the ult from Batal killing a minion or 2, I think. That was insane. A beautiful play. Were they already 6 walking lane? I don't think they were.
I don't know if they were, but BioV just here in the bot side, getting a consolation crab, maybe going to try to look for some farm from Goat in Yu's jungle, as he knows that's kind of where they are, but that chicken almost giving it away.
I don't know what the code is with chickens, but I've had this happen to me on Maokai recently as well. When I like W onto the big chicken and press Q, they will just scatter. It's like the Scooby-Doo gangs saying, "Split up, gang, search for clues." I don't know what they're looking for, but it should be me. I don't know. Either way, we see that the play on the top side gives a lot of pressure back over to Batal, who was quite a bit behind, and now Mystiques will catch out the enemy Skarner in the jungle, trying to deny the red buff steal, but instead it might be their own life that they give up here, especially to Rough Beans, the worst case scenario for Mystiques. I like the idea of trying to figure out where Skarner is, but unfortunately they're caught out well.
Yeah, Sendy understanding that as well, and actually will back so that Skarner does not get the chance to dive him, as he knows he will go down, saying, hey, Yu's going to go ahead and get the Void Grubs. Dragon still hasn't been taken. That means work quite well. You can try to clear out the top red side, as he is losing his own red side. Consolation prizes for Mystique's life.
Now misses the combo here in top side, which is a little bit scary for them, but again, they've got the W to escape, as maybe UNC will push up too far. Yes, that's a control word, but not catching out where U really is, and that's what matters. Obviously, Batal doesn't have the ultimate, so not as much burst damage comes through, but the moment you see that a lot of UNC spells are used, Weaver feeling confident to walk up here. All they need is vision on UNC, and the ultimate can come out. Oh no, actually 3 seconds away. It wasn't quite up. I misunderstood the timer on it. Can they still get UNC here? And they do, without ultimate or flash being up. It's just the perfect window, and it seems that Weaver trying to have the similar mentality that they had last game, right? In Batao we trust, because the bot side's certainly not going well for Weaver.
Yeah, Cindy gonna have to find a way to get out of here. No flash, uses the supercharger, will actually do a beautiful killer instinct to get away as the yaw misses from GFB.
Honestly, that's a big deal. I wasn't quite sure why Sendy didn't R earlier, and then I realized Seraphine had not used the ultimate yet. So good patience from Sendy keeps them alive. Unfortunately, again, the bot lane is such a problem now. You can see that the gold lead on Yunara is really starting to balloon, and Mystique's still level 4, by the way. Unfortunately, we haven't been bot in a while, and the experience difference is becoming a major problem. A sneak in, speaking of Mystiques, onto the bot lane there. I actually hadn't noticed. I'm telling people to count their minions, and I can't count minions.
I mean, we're casters over here. We wish that there was ability that was just like, had an arrow that starts like pointing genie style from Aladdin. Here, here, here.
Yeah, actually, I would not mind a neon flashing light that just says Nico over and over. That would be pretty nice.
Yeah. So, Goku actually doing quite well here in the mid lane, starting to get to the point where his bouncing Qs and Es do a lot of damage to Heimer's turrets, and Heimer does not have the cooldown to keep them up. You may be going to be coming down here looking for a dive, does have the Hound's Pursuit, so could try to find something, but if gets overzealous, could really turn quite poorly for them. We'll find out now that it is bad, but BioV does hit the Nico as Patel actually gets a solo kill in the top lane. Unfortunately for Mystiques, might be going down here as really good flashes, and GFB gonna go ahead and go down to the burn, as Yu will also be sacrificing his own life. Does not have the reset yet, cannot find it onto Teddy. Will do the flash away, gets some really good shielding. Holy crap, that's a lot. Has the W come back up, but unfortunately will go down, but not to Teddy.
A really close just margin of error for both teams there. Yunara actually was respecting the U reset, because you did get the reset off of GFB, but couldn't get within range of the Yunara to find the kill. Worth mentioning now that ultimately it's up to Mystiques to not die here again. I thought they had reset, and unfortunately they had not, so it's going to be a simple and clean kill here for BioV2, who's starting to get quite strong now, 2-1 and 5.
Yeah, it's very strong themselves, but Batao actually starting to take over here in this top lane, doing a lot, being very frustrating to deal with. He does get hit with some spells, but luckily because he hasn't done anything, actually now that I mention it, maybe caster cursing things here a little bit, but with the spell rotation not being quite there for the W to be back up for UNC, will not catch him out. I was going to say though, Goku having his Rod of Ages completed at 11 minutes? That's pretty good!
It's not bad. It feels like this is a game that accelerated in general. At 12 minutes, a lot of players having the first item. There's been some action across the board. There's not a member in the game that has not at least participated in an assist or a kill.
I mean, you mentioned action, but I haven't seen him once.
I mean, Goku, sure, yeah. Wait, you mean you haven't seen Goku in a fight?
No, I haven't seen action.
Oh, well, okay, haha, touche. I'm too tired to get these jokes, man. You can't catch me off guard with these. That was a good one, though. Honestly, it seems like Weaver's biggest lead is once more back in the top side here, as Yunara's lead did go down quite a bit. While they weren't able to kill Teddy, Sendy got so much time alone on the bottom side. You can see actually almost up a full level here. About to hit level 9, did just complete their role quest. Is Mystique's looking to have a little bit of fun with the ultimate now obviously completed. Trying to find an angle with maybe a flash, but they don't have the flash yet, so they just have to play carefully.
I could have sworn that Riot fixed that Nico interaction where if you're backing, the clone would stay for the entire duration of the back. Because I just saw a Keiser back that didn't actually exist.
So backing still works. It's the silly tail spin while moving duration that doesn't work anymore. Because you used to be able to do both of those. It's actually Batao here in the top side trying to find the angle out. Will not be able to. It's actually, never mind. Yes, they will. I cannot believe Batao found that in a margin of, what, 1/5 HP? And they will successfully escape. Meanwhile, here on the bot side, looks like a dive wants to come through. We're going to choose to go into DFB while Mystiques dives the backside, because Sendy can follow through the dive there. Yes, you gets the reset, but ultimately, they don't need much else. They got the flash and ultimate out of Teddy.
Beautifully played. Finally, Mystiques now actually catching up in experience here. Finally gets to the wave, gets his experience, and really starts to do things as Goku. Oh my goodness, Goku. Just starting to running away with things. BioV here, though, not happy that his jungle's being taken, but a beautiful route from Mystiques will slow him down, though. It's just unfortunate. The ultimate not going to go a hit from BioV, and Yu so slippery and frustrating, as actually, I believe I saw it right there. Nico can turn into one of Neferi's dogs.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I suppose even as an ally, you can see little arrows above their head, right? They are allies. Oh, you fighting BioV2 here, which is not a fight that Neferi wins in the short term, but in the long term, as time goes on, can do a lot, especially because, again, they're in the enemy jungle here. Mystiques is absolutely here to help out the jungler. Can they do a lot? Especially with Goku on the way. The World Warp coming in right as the root comes out from Mystiques. A beautiful sequence of plays. Goku does have Ghost ready to pop it, and there it is. Teddy will be going down here pretty cleanly as well with nowhere to go. And Weaver is starting to snowball this game that looked disastrous for them. A flash around the E from Goku, beautifully played, and you can see GFB holds still, knows they can't get out, isn't going to waste any summoners, and is going to accept their fate.
Yeah, beautifully performed as Vital now also trying to do a lot. You see the burst coming in. UNC actually doing a lot to get his passive stacked up. It's a big threat Vital has to deal with. But the slipperiness of Aurora is something infuriating for melee champions. The ultimate is back for UNC, so there's a lot of healing that can come out from it. But will the burst outdo that? I think so.
I agree. Worth mentioning, folks, as you saw, Vital was invisible there for so long. For those of you that don't play Aurora a whole lot of Aurora's max W second because it does increase the duration of the invisibility. So I know not everyone knows that. Vital actually pulled very weirdly over UNC's ultimate and a gank from the Nico. Unfortunately, there's literally nothing UNC could have done about that. You can't count minions that are off your screen. And when Goku's... Sorry, not when Goku. When Mystiques is leading the charge, right? It's the first minion you see. You have no way of counting that. You're just going to get cooked. The only way you could hope is by pressing tab, but even then, that's just optimism talking.
I mean, I really do know how Riot fixes Nico. Get rid of Proto Belt.
Look, I'm going to be real. I never thought I would agree with you, because in my head, Proto Belt is such like an item that was good. But I've seen Victor's build it. I've seen his Veer's build it. It might be time to look at it like Stridebreaker and take it out back.
It could also just be that instead of having the dash, it just does the rockets. They did that to Stridebreaker.
Ooh, the ultimate comes out from Beans, but not enough. There's the exhaust immediately on the target that we talked about earlier. But you can just kind of stall it out, wait a bit, and maybe try and turn this back around. No, it looks like the slippery little weasel here in the mid lane will survive, and ultimately, down exhaust means honestly a lot for Weaver. Maybe they can find a whippy play here.
And you know, yeah, looks like they're... Keiser here trying to find a play on Descendi. There's 4 members here, and especially with a Skarner that can come through the wall, it's going to be really frustrating. But Goku is back in the mid lane, folks.
Ah, yes, Goku. Hello, Goku. How are you? Oh, as BioB2 going for it, they want to make the play on Descendi, trying to be patient, use the ultimate when they can, but the Impale does not come out fast enough. BioB2 taking a ton of damage, actually. The Realm Warp comes out to kind of bait Keiser into it, because no, Goku does not need to take that. GFB might get a lot of burst damage, but as Vital uses the jump backwards, it's a lot of safety that they're gained, and there's 5 members of Weaver in the mid lane, folks, and it's a clean fight that should turn into a tier 1 as well. Vital in a bit of danger, needs to be careful, but honestly, Beans is out of mana, so the last thing they have is this one turret. That's it.
Ah, Heimerdinger, we love to hate you. One of the funny things I was going to say is, getting back onto the Proto Belt topic, you know an item's the issue when Ari builds it. Ari already has dashes!
Yep, dude, it's so crazy. Like, it's a Zir first item, it's Ari first item. It has to stop. We have to stop it. Annie, I understand. Annie needs it, right? Aurora, sure. It's a little strong, but sure. But man, everyone's using it. It's the best item in the game for mages. It's crazy. It looks like a Blast Plume was used there just to try and be getting to safety a little bit easier from UNC, as Weaver picks up also a Herald. Huge credit to you this game. Currently 5, 2, and 4. Was able to really turn around every lane that went poorly, right? Early on, UNC got a solo kill, and then you visited topside and got a lot done. Then bot lane was going very poorly, and then you helped out with essentially 2 dives that turns the game around. So currently, you is my player of the game.
Yeah, it's just kind of nitpicky things. The ability to finish and set up these plays is enormous. Also, I mean, Mystique's having a real comeback in this game.
Yeah.
Really just kind of being a lead paperweight early and turning into something that, you know, in the top lane, all of a sudden, surprise!
I don't fully blame them. They really were not allowed to get experience. But now that they have, they've really been able to make a comeback. A nice route there coming out from Mystiques, and you in the vicinity as well. It looks like we even wanted to go for a play on this top side, but couldn't quite find anything. It's a bit of a tense moment still here. As UNC is going to go over the wall. You might need to escape. A good use of the Call of the Pack, I believe is the name of it. It might be Hound's Pursuit, but I think it's Call of the Pack.
I believe it's called the Pack because Hound's Pursuit is the dash. It's one of those, they were switched, and I can never remember anymore. I want to say Hound's Pursuit is the dash.
I believe so as well. So Call of the Pack there to escape. One of the best abilities in the game, honestly. Ever since Nefiri got in a lower cooldown, it's quite strong. Vital maybe getting caught here, but who's doing the catching, folks? Vital is ready to attempt the burst. There's even the Impale and the ultimate. Vital still survives for way too long. That was 3 ultimates used just to try and kill Vital, and the survival ability was way too much. The unique ultimate coming out, and there it is, folks. We talked about it during draft. This entire entire game can come down to insane plays from Mystiques, but UNC flashing forward, trying to get a play. They won't get their passive up in time, but a major shutdown gifted over to Rough Beans.
Yeah, it was so close, so frustrating. Teddy and GFB going down early means that it's so difficult to do things. The power juggling from you is immense. Any champion that has invulnerability, in my opinion, should have it on like a 5-minute cooldown.
I mean, yeah, it's what it used to be, right? It used to be Neferi's ultimate, and now it is just a standard, 15, 20-second cooldown? It's a long cooldown, sure, but much like Mel's Reflect, late game, it really doesn't feel that long.
The funny thing is, when it was her ultimate, it didn't give her invulnerability.
Oh, wait, you're right. You're 100% correct. Goku is 100% dead here. Never mind, the beautiful flash to the side. We know that Bio V2 does not have an Impale, so it's just up to Weaver to try and play as well as Mystique's playing with my heart a little bit there. I thought that was really Sendy, and I thought Sendy was walking up real far. You in the Drake pit needs to escape in a second, but actually used most of their ability to escape to get in, so it was really close there for a second. And honestly, I think this Drake fight is going to be the decider of the game. Who can figure this out? Batao going in deep, but is able to jump to that side. Does have the invulnerability, but can be stunned even while invisible. Looks like Rough Beans will go down, and Batao still getting plenty of damage on the backside. Meanwhile, Weaver do get the Drake in time. Teddy trying to do what they can in return, and a Battle Herald from Mystique's doing quite a bit of work, but UNC has the passive. Weaver has to wait that out. Just a second, two more. You has the reset in the ultimate, I believe. There's UNC's passive. It goes all the way down. Mystique's, unfortunately, I'm afraid you're just going to die, but you now ready to follow it up. Dodging the Impale just barely with a dash to the side, and UNC goes down. Weaver looking to follow this all the way through. This could be the fight that determines not just the game, but the series. They got the Drake, they got the Ace, and they reset with beautiful tempo. And actually, they're not going to reset because there's a Herald bot still.
Yeah, Battle Herald, what are you talking about? Shelly knows where she's going. Shelly is Mundo.
Clearly, I guess. Middle of fight, helping with Drakes. Mystique's piloting quite well. This is, play some Eurobeat gas, I suppose. What a crazy amount of... It wasn't really drifting, I suppose. You can't really be too hyped about it. Still, a nice Battle Herald. Mystique's does end up giving their life at the end of the day, but now they have a Secret On Guard. Something tells me they're going to be very hard to kill in the future.
I mean, it hard to kill. Weaver doesn't have a composition that's hard to kill at all. Aurora doesn't go invisible. You doesn't go invulnerable. Rise doesn't have a million shield and HP.
Oh, Teddy, I'm so sorry. You were flanked by 3 angles there. Goku even almost stepped out of the Realm Warp because he expected you to do exactly what you did. Wasn't quite able to, though. He was in the middle of the Realm Warp, obviously, when it started, and was close to committing. But now, with the enemy AD carry dead, how do you fight Drake? I mean, at this point, you're hoping for a Bio V2 drive-by, but Mystiques and Batao are really not letting that be the case. You need to be a bit careful still. I will believe that, honestly, Skarner's pretty good at it. Does you want to go for the ultimate? There it is. Going instead for the play here. They need to be careful again. It could be turned around pretty easily. Seraphine doesn't have ultimate yet, though, so it's not going to be enough. Weaver managed to stall it out for long enough. Mystiques barely using the clone to escape to safety. A clean setup, and now a 9.3 thousand gold lead and a Baron for Weaver State.
Yeah, Keiser University really having these things slip away. Weaver State able to take every single macro play and turn it almost into a mountain, it feels like.
It's a good point, so we'll see if this mountain is insurmountable. Sorry, I'm developing hiccups, it would seem. Terrible thing to develop all casting.
I do actually want to give a shout out to one of our viewers here mentioning that Mystique's, yes, it has indeed made beautiful use of the catch-up EXP mechanic. Because he's been gone so long and was down a level so long, Sendy got a lot of solo experience. And now Mystique's has gotten so much experience back just for free that he's actually up as Goku wins the 1v2.
Goku got that kill just in time for the Encore hit, so it didn't matter that the Encore hit. It was just a Seraphine there left to hit him at this point. We've got Bio V2 missing the Impale onto Mystique's, which now Mystique's with a Rocket Belt and Ultimate, choosing to go for it, using a beautiful use of the Aurora Ultimate from Batao to both go in, dodge some spells, and then go right back in afterwards. Yep, so they will die to the Heimerdinger turrets, but Sendy is now here ready to rain down damage on Bio V2, and in the top side, Goku trying to do what they can.
Gonna be able to get a lot with this Baron. Gonna go ahead and proc the Crystalline, Moss, get a lot of damage. Seraphine has the echoes of Helia, not going to be able to do much. BioV takes a lot of damage as Sendy is just raining down on this tower. Goku in the top lane gets a tier 2 for himself. BioV trying to do things, but with getting hit by the root from Mystique's will seal his fate. UNC gonna go ahead and try something, but Zahen, he's good, but there's so many times when he's behind, he just feels so anticlimactic.
Yeah, happy to see Sendy go the on-hit AD build. We mentioned it, right? They needed more AD, and they've got it. The almost full crit build here with an IE coming in soon. But I like the Ginsu's as well still, right? It's still an on-hit build. You're trying to proc Kraken as much as physically possible. And now an IE is completed along with another crit load. That's a scary Keiser.
Very scary. Compared to Teddy, who has one crit item, has his Fiend Hunter Bolt, which a lot of people say, oh, that's Yunar at full build, but hasn't been able to get the damage as you. I was going to say in a hairy situation, but then, you know, just Neferi business.
Well, Drake's in 50 seconds. It's not soul for either team, but it would be soul point for Weaver, so they want to do it. The truth is, I actually know it probably doesn't matter that much. By sending Batao top lane, they're creating an insane pressure point to try and force to be answered, right? But you can see it's Teddy that has to answer it, and Batao with a teleport is ready to join in a fight. However, the fight is already breaking out on the bottom side here. A beautiful impale, but followed by the root means that Mystique can go golden and block most of the pressure that they had. Will they choose to turn around? They still have Blast, they still have R, but a little bit too low. They're going to go for it. Yes, they are. There's the play in. The exhaust comes out onto Mystique. Remember, you do not want to be forced to put it on. Oh, you can see UNC trying to do what they can, trying to get the damage they can, but they can't find it. U gets the reset, choosing to go right back in, and in the top side, Aurora gets the kill again. Teddy goes down, and U doing wonders in this fight. Goku well morphed in from the side of the lane, and looks like that will be the game to Weber State, folks. They have a wave they can push in and bot in just a moment, and also they've got a top laner in position, ready to end the game.
Yeah, but Tao finding that solo kill onto Teddy is huge. Really secures that Weaver is going to be able to push this in. They may have some low health bars, but with 10 seconds on most laners, the Heimerdinger trying to do everything he can. He's done very well for himself. Probably been Rough Beam's best game. Really being able to mitigate a lot, but I've played plenty of Heimerdinger top, and he just isn't a champion, I'm afraid.
Yeah, these late game scenarios, you just get out-kited and out-killed, and you can see Weaver styling a little bit, will not end up dying on the Nexus, and they will secure their dominant victory, 3-0 in this series.
Yes, we do, and we do appreciate you coming and joining us this day for our League of Legends games. We do have a series tomorrow since we win, but we're going to have to check to see if we as the casters have the schedule to do so. We're not sure yet, so if we do go live, we're hoping you will join us.
Yeah, keep an eye out. Hopefully, regardless of how tomorrow goes, whether we have the ability to stream it or not, we'll be back next Saturday, because the only reason we wouldn't be is if we lose tomorrow. I believe in Weaver. We got to all see that performance just now. Weaver's looking on top of their form, looking to hopefully close out their season and their last time with Sendy on the team in a dominant victory. So stay with us, folks, and we hope to see you either tomorrow or likely next week.